Madam Clerk.
Good morning. Welcome to the pre-meeting of the Newark Municipal Council on Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. Council President, council members, we have some appointments this morning, starting on page 50. We have an appointment as Director of the Department of Public Safety, Emmanuel Miranda Sr.
Good morning.
Morning.
Do you have a opening statement?
Yes, good morning. First, giving honor to God for this blessing and this opportunity to stand before you. Secondly, I would like to thank the mayor for entrusting me with this position. It's a position that I take highly in serving the Department of Public Safety and also the community. And I stand before you just grateful and to always make myself available to the city council, to the mayor, to the BA, and more importantly, to the residents in the city of Newark. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Quintana.
I want to say congratulations to the administration because I've always believed that promoting a police director out of the ranking file creates the morale in the police department. As someone who sat in this council for many years and directors that would come from other agencies and other places, no one knows the Newark Police Department like the rank and file who have served with Newark Police. So to the administration, I want to say thank you. To Manny Miranda, who is doing an awesome job, who comes from the ranks, from an academy to being an officer, to detective, to the high rank of captain. You know, this is a great day in Newark. What a great Christmas feeling that we have someone who has arisen from the ranking file of the Newark Police Department. To me, that's the morale. As a father who has a son in the police department, that is the morale that I believe that motivates men and women in the police department. When promotions are within, I believe within, what's made here is from here. And Manny Miranda is a great asset to the Newark Police Department and the Department of Public Safety. But I just want to say thank you for your service. You have been a person that I believe who knows every aspect of the police. And what better than someone, a Newark son. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Thank you, Council President. I ditto everything that Councilman Louis A. Quintana has stated, but working with you so closely over the years, and you have proven yourself to be one who is not just a servant to the administration, not just a servant to the police department, but a servant to the entire city of Newark. And the residents are blessed that God has elevated you to this assignment. I am grateful, I am thankful, and I also congratulate you and know that things are only going to get better with you being elevated to being the director of our Newark Department of Public Safety. My prayer is that God will continue to walk with you because I know you're a God-fearing man, and I know that you are truly going to serve to the best of your ability in your new assignment. And it's not really new to you because, as Councilman Quintana has stated, you have already been doing the work. He said rank and file. The truth is your rank has now been elevated and the file has now increased. And we know that it's going to get better and that our Newark Department of Public Safety is now, and I'm not saying anything about previous, I'm talking about going forward, that there's greater ahead of you and greater for the city of Newark because of your leadership for the department, the Newark Department of Public Safety. God bless you and congratulations, and I'm grateful that this has happened in your life.
Amen. Thank you.
Councilwoman. Councilman Gonzalez.
I don't want to repeat what my two colleagues have said, but I congratulate you and wish you blessings in your new positions. I know that you pray here locally, you eat here locally,
That's right.
your family is here locally, and we respect that. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman. So let me just say this. It's good, and not only good, but great to see a man who I'm trying to put the words together that I want to say, because I think very highly of you. And let me say that. A man who gives his word and keeps it,
Yes.
a man who has integrity, and someone who, no matter what the situation, who you are, whether you're the mayor of Newark or whether you're a resident, a homeless, in a homeless shelter, or whatever, you give them the same dignity and respect. It is important to have somebody in a position that that we're going to vote to put you in. And I believe the mayor did a great job of picking you through the rank and file, you moving up from to police chief to now to director of someone who not only will be a police officer's police officer, but will be a firefighter's firefighter, because I believe that you will work with both sides and make sure that our city is a better place and our safety is in a much better position. I know Councilman Council, do you want to say anything? I know you just got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. Just left a committee meeting, but definitely want to give kudos and congratulations to Director Miranda, who is an example of what can happen in this great city of Newark, and a model that we should look at and understanding that if we are patient and we come through the systems and supportive, and if we are humble about the work that we do, that ultimately we don't have to look for anyone to exalt us but God. So I am pleased that you are going to have this opportunity to serve as the Director of Public Safety, and understand all of the colleagues that work around you and with you are excited about your leadership as well. And as probably all of my colleagues have stated, your presence is important and impactful, not just to our public safety department, but to the administration and legislative body of this city. And so we depend on you to send a powerful and impactful message out to the brass, that they may feel it from the top down and from the bottom up, to recognize and realize that the work that is planted in your heart is about the community. It is about the connectedness of the people, the response of the people, to serve in a capacity where people can feel safe and secure around the officers and ultimately even our fire personnel. And so I look forward to a continued relationship and getting the work done in this city, that we can continue not just to lower crime, but to provide a quality of life. I think people miss that because we get so caught up in crime that we miss the point that we want to provide a quality of life, that we want to be able to have a good space for not just our children, but our grandchildren. And I think that because of your leadership, your love and diversity for the city, you have the capacity to build back and push up individuals in the city to do the work that is needed. So thank you. God bless you out there with all the rest of your staff and personnel.
Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to sponsor.
Second.
I think everybody seconds that.
What's that?
Thank you.
Council President.
Thank you,
Thank you
Director.
for those kind words. Really appreciate it.
Next item.
Next appointment is an appointment to the Central Planning Board as alternate number 2, Ms. Susan Austin.
Ms. Austin is appearing. Come on. Good morning, Ms. Austin. Do you have an opening statement you'd like to make, or?
Well, just to introduce myself,
Okay.
I'm Susan Austin. I'm a Newark resident, been living in Newark for about 25 years, spent most of my professional career working in Newark, and I'm just thankful and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Next appointment on page 51 is the appointment to the Civilian Complaint Review Board, Solomon Middleton Williams.
Good morning, Council.
I'm sorry, good morning. You have an opening statement?
Sure. Yes. Prepared remarks, and so I'll go for that. Again, thank you for the consideration for my nomination for the Civilian Complaint Review Board. My name is Solomon Middleton Williams, and I am a proud Newark native whose roots run deep in the city's soil. Growing up in Sedgwick projects, I witnessed firsthand how the intersection of policy and policing can profoundly impact our community's well-being and civil rights. And as James Baldwin once wrote, the law is meant to be my servant and not my master, still less my torturer, my murderer. The urgency of improving police-community relationships became even clearer to me from my journey from Virginia to Taos, New Mexico, when Michael Brown's death dominated national headlines. The tragedy crystallized my conviction that such incidents should never happen in the city of Newark, especially the city I call home. And throughout my professional journey across different states, my heart has always remained fixed on the city of Newark. And upon my return in 2018, I've worked tirelessly to support Mayor Baraka's vision on community public safety. As a specialist in community violence intervention, I've successfully secured federal, state, local, and philanthropic dollars to support this great city. My approach has always been collaborative, bringing together law enforcement captains, directors, and community stakeholders to ensure Newarkers are seen, heard, and properly protected. I'm proudly and really supportive of this opportunity that ICC, Ironbound Community Corporation, under the leadership of Hazel Applewhite, has supported me to become on this Civilian Complaint Review Board. Again, let me be clear, I wasn't born in 1700s, I was born in 1988, and so I'm not responsible for the past incidents, but I will be responsible for the future. And so I would say to my fellow residents of Newark that if appointed, they have a champion in me, a champion that support civil rights and equity for the city and residents of Newark. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Yes,
Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
I would like to sponsor him, and congratulations.
I'll second.
Councilman Council.
Yep, I'll second. And just want to, give kudos to Solomon for his work with Newark Community Street Team in his efforts and moving on and collectively thinking about the interest and well-being of what is happening all around this city, but also having a laser beam focus on the growth and development of the South Ward, and especially in an area that he finally grew up in, which is the Dayton Street area. And so, I commend him. I know his work will be tedious, arduous, and he will be impactful, serving on this team. So thank you. Look forward to his service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments, questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Council President, council members, we are on page 4 of the agenda. Item 5 is reports and recommendations of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Any questions from the council? Next item.
Ordinances on first reading. 6FA is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 74-78 Webster Urban Renewal LLC for a project to demolish the existing structures and construct a new 5-story multifamily building with 25 residential rental units consisting of 20 market-rate residential rental units, 5 affordable housing rental units, of which 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 40% of area median income. 1 unit shall be restricted to tenants at 60% of area median income, and 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% area median income in the North Ward.
Any questions? Seeing none, next item.
Public hearing, second reading, and final passage. 6P SFA and B will be deferred to January 8th. 6P SFC is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax abatement to 440 Elizabeth, New Jersey Urban Renewal LLC for a project to renovate and rehabilitate a vacant and existing 25-story high-rise residential building consisting of 216 units, of which 190 units shall be market-rate residential rental units consisting of 48 one-bedroom units, 120 two-bedroom units, and 48 three-bedroom units. and 26 units shall be affordable housing rental units, of which 16 one-bedroom units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% of the area median income. 5 two-bedroom units shall be restricted to tenants at 60% of area median income, and 5 three-bedroom units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% of area median income in the South Ward.
Any questions? Seeing none, next item.
6P SFD is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement to KSPG 39 Madison Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 5-story building consisting of 80 units, of which 64 units shall be market rate residential rental units, and 16 units shall be affordable housing rental units, of which 4 units shall be restricted to tenants at 40% of AMI, 4 units shall be restricted to tenants at 60% AMI, and 8 units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% AMI in the East Ward.
Any questions? Councilman Gonzalez.
I just want to go back to C. I don't know, what I have here says that the entities located on Ostila Avenue, New Square, New
Can
Jersey.
you speak up closer to the microphone?
Yeah, it says here that the entity is located on Ostila Avenue, New Square, New Jersey. I don't know where that is. Is that another creation?
See the deputy mayor coming up.
Good morning, Council President Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I'll verify the address and send an email and be happy to respond to that.
Yeah, I didn't know that we had a New Square town.
Understood. I'll look into that, Council President.
I'm sure it's supposed to say Newark. Thank you. Next item.
6P SFE is deferred to January 8th. 6P SFF is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a license agreement between the City of Newark and Broad Street Fidelco LLC to be used as a police substation. And G is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between the City of Newark and Fidelco LLC for property to be used as a police precinct substation by the Department of Public Safety.
Any questions? Seeing none, next item.
H is an ordinance of the City of Newark providing for additional filters at the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant and other related expenses, appropriating $11,400,000.
Any questions? Next item.
I is refunding bond ordinance providing for the refunding of all or a portion of its outstanding general obligation bonds.
Any questions? Next item.
J will be deferred to January 8th. K will be deferred to January 8th as well. L on page 9 is an ordinance adopting the 7th Amendment to the Newark River Public Access and Redevelopment Plan.
Questions? Seeing none.
M will be deferred to
Sorry,
January.
I'm sorry. Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, could someone from the administration just give us a summary on the 7th Amendment?
Good morning, Council President Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. This 7th Amendment is associated with access and necessary to a parking lot. It'll be at the Ballantyne project, and it's to accommodate a grocer that's coming into that building.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next item.
M and N are both deferred to January 8th. O on page 10 is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to B9 Hyatt Avenue owner Urban Renewal LLC for a project involving the construction of an industrial warehouse distribution building in the East Ward.
Any questions? Seeing none, next item.
P is an ordinance authorizing amendment to financial agreements for the tax abatement granted to Terrell Redevelopment Partners Urban Renewal LP to revise the address of the property and to extend the deadline for the improvements to the constructed for the project as a result of the change in financing.
Any questions? Council? Seeing none, next item.
Q will be deferred to January 8th. We are on page 13, resolutions.
Mr. President.
Sorry, Councilman.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to 7FA. I had requested that the Department of Economic Development set up a meeting with this proposed developer for 74/78 Webster Street. So if the absence of that, I'd like to defer it again.
Actually, we're going to defer it. Yes, that's what defer. All right. And I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor. Go.
Thanks, Council President. Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. Yes, Councilmember Ramos, following our last meeting, I did provide the information to your office. The developer is Natan Katz, and I have a phone number that I can resend, as well as the attorney is Marcia Moore with Post Pollock.
Okay. Yeah, just email it to me if you can, and I'll have my office set up a
Sure,
meeting.
I'd be happy to make sure you have that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
We are on page 13, resolutions. 7R1 A and B are temporary emergency appropriations.
Questions? Seeing none?
7R1C through E are state and/or bid contracts. C is for the Geographic Information System software. D is for computer equipment, and E is for fire truck parts and apparatus.
Any questions? From the
Yes.
Councilman, council.
Yep. While we're on the fire apparatus and the fire truck equipment, just a question about the exchange. I'm not sure if someone here is from public safety, but the upgrading of the motorcycles, right? We have a whole, team of motorcycles that are out here riding. What is the turnaround rate that we look for? Is it every 10 to 15 years or every 10 years in terms of replacing motorbikes? And when was the last time that they were replaced? And what are we looking at now in terms of upgrading our motorcycle units?
If there's not someone who can answer that right away, let's do we get him? Okay, come forward.
Good morning, Council President, council members.
morning.
Leo Carrillo, Deputy Director of Police. I will look into the age of the motorcycles. I will find out from our personnel. I'll try to get an answer and I'll send that out to you all. They're bought not all at once. They're bought in stages. So the newest ones may be only a couple of years old. I don't know the oldest one in the fleet. So they are purchased on a rolling basis. But I'll get exact numbers for you and I'll make sure I forward that to the council.
Great, thank you. Is that satisfactory, Councilman, council?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Deputy Director.
Deputy, I'm sorry. Question.
I had been asking for a few months about the status of the opening of the firehouse on 6th Street. And, I've heard a bunch of different dates and drove by the other day and I don't think a firehouse is open yet. So just asked through your chair and the clerk to see if you could bring that back and see when that's going to open.
Yes, sir. Actually, was in conversation with the fire chief just yesterday regarding that issue to get confirmation. They're waiting on one last bit of issue around plumbing to turn some things on, and they should be up. So it's very soon, but I will follow up with an exact date with email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Next item.
7R1F is a resolution of support to provide a resolution of support for All Star Development Enterprise LLC to operate a Class 5 cannabis retail micro business.
I'd like to be a sponsor of that.
I'm sorry,
I'd
second?
like to be a sponsor of that.
All right, sponsored by Councilman Silva. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Gonzalez.
Mr. President, can we go back to D?
You gotta come up. I can't really hear back there.
Can we go back to D for a second? It says there funding 2024 budget, Department of Public, but doesn't say public what?
You said 7R1B on page 13? D as in David. Someone come up, you want an
I suppose it's
explanation?
public safety, but
Yeah, I know, I think I saw 150 vehicles or something like that.
yes.
Can someone come up and, 7R1D as in David on page 15. All right, Deputy Director, you're on again.
Good morning, Council President. Leo Carrillo, Deputy Director, Department of Public Safety, Newark Police. Did have to look into exactly what the contract is adopted for. Yeah, I'm gonna have to follow up with the unit responsible for this. I don't have information on it.
Okay, so let's get that information before we vote tomorrow,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Thank
Yep.
you. Anything else, Councilman?
That's it.
Thank you.
We are on page 17, resolutions from Economic and Housing Development. 7R2A through M are all private sale redevelopment agreements. A is new construction of a two-family home and provide 2 market rate rental units in the South Ward.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask for 7R2A to be deferred.
So defer. Council, is there a second for deferment?
Second.
Scott Roundtree.
B is the First Amendment to the agreement for the sale and redevelopment of land to Ascension Capital Partners 1 LLC to amend the scope of the project in the East Ward.
Questions?
I'm going to ask that to be deferred.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's second? Oh, okay. Ramos second.
C is new construction of a 16-unit apartment building for individuals whose income is at 40 to 80% of AMI in the South Ward.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that item. I'd like to move the item.
Just move it, okay,
I'll second.
all right. Ramos second.
D is new construction of a 2-family homes. 1 unit will be owner occupied and 3 affordable rental units in the South Ward.
I'd like to move that item as well, Mr. Chair.
I hate to say,
Second.
sometimes I can't really hear right here. What did you say?
I'd like to move the item as well.
All right.
I said I'll second it.
All right. The acoustics right here just aren't great.
Speak up.
E is the First Amendment to the agreement for the sale and redevelopment of land to Rising Plains 570 LLC to amend the scope of the project in the Central Ward.
This is E. Can we get a explanation of this item,
Right.
Deputy Mayor? I know the owner was here last meeting, but if we can get a explanation of the project and what this amendment does.
Yes, Council President, Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. The developer here is Rising Plains. They have done work in our city several times and also purchased other property throughout the city. The owner, Jamila Muhammad, is actually part of the West Ward redevelopment work that was done about half a dozen years ago under the model neighborhood effort. The amendment that is before you is actually changing the project scope. They want to develop 3 two-family affordable home ownership units. Previously, it was 4, and that is the reason for the amendment.
And the reason for the changing is it dealt with the dimensions, I think, of the
Yes,
property?
yes, Council President, you are correct.
Any questions? Councilman Gonzalez.
So this land was sold to this developer some time ago.
Yes, I do not know the exact date it was sold, but I can provide that to you.
So have we closed on the selling of the land?
I will have to verify that, Council President, but I'll check for you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding this matter? All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilman
The only
Gonzalez.
concern that, as always, is that this land is valued at 328,000, at least is assessed at that value, and we are selling it for 1/3 of that assessed value. So that's the only concern that I have regarding this transaction, and we should, in the future, make sure that these assessments reflect the actual condition of the property and not what they were assessed when the properties were, let's say, viable properties.
Maybe Deputy Mayor, usually when the property is sold, you provide us with some information on that, when the sale of what the condition of the property was, or at the time of the resolution being brought to us. So maybe you can go back if you can find that and send that to us.
Yes,
If you
Council
didn't already
President.
do that, because I know you sent us something I haven't looked through yet.
It's no problem, Council President. I'd be happy to send that. The information that you received this morning was for any new private sales. The information that related to an amendment, I will have to send to you and the rest of the council members, and we'll do that today.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madam Clerk, if we can go back to 7R1D, page 15, I believe the Deputy Director can respond to Councilman Gonzalez's question.
Good morning, Council President Leo Carrillo, Deputy
Morning.
Director Police. Regarding 7R1D, just spoke with Director Purchasing, just to clarify question I had. So this resolution was originally adopted back in April 20th of 2022. This is just to maximize, we're changing the funding source to maximize grants. So we located more grants to be able to fund this. So we're just changing the funding source. That's what this resolution is for.
So we don't know if it's the Department of Public Safety, the Department of Public Affairs, the Department.
No, it's public safety.
All right, thank you. We give you a little slack, but starting January 1st, I don't, Deputy, you're on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Next item.
F is for new construction of a 5-story residential building with 16 market rate rental units in the East Ward.
Any questions?
I'd like to move this.
You want to move it? All right, second.
Second.
That's F.
F as in Frank, yes.
Yes, I don't know how someone is going to be building a 5-story building on 2,317 square feet. Unless they have land side by side.
They have the land on the side.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Silva Scott Roundtree. Next item.
G is new construction of 2 two-family homes to sell at market rate in the West Ward.
Now, Councilman Kelly asked for this item to be deferred.
Duly noted. H is newly construct 3 two-family dwellings to rent at market rate in the South Ward.
Any questions?
Ask for this item to be deferred, as well as 7R2I.
Council, second.
I'll second it.
Council Gonzalez, and same on 2I. Council Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr.
To
President,
defer. Councilman Gonzalez?
I see again, let's say, this land is assessed at 173,800, and we're selling it for 39,000. So again, it looks really bad when we have these cases like that. We're giving the house away. So we have to make sure that those assessments, as I mentioned before, are accurate.
Thank you. Next item.
J is to renovate the property to use as a community outreach center in the West Ward.
Next item.
K is new construction of a 3-family home wherein 1 unit will be owner occupied and the other 2 units will be affordable in the South Ward.
Any questions?
Yeah, defer.
Motion to defer from Councilman Council. Is there a second?
Second.
So Scott Roundtree, seconds.
L is to build an industrial warehouse to be utilized for light manufacturing in the Central Ward.
Mr. President.
I believe I was going to request a deferment on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, could we just verify the addresses? Because I think some of these with redistricting are now in the North Ward. So,
For which item are you for?
the warehouse on McCarter, say.
Oh, whether it's a North Ward, are you saying? You're saying whether it's a North Ward?
Yeah, I think after redistricting, some of these property addresses are in the North Ward, so.
All right, Deputy Mayor, if you can, you just follow up and make sure those addresses are correct and what ward they're in. Thank you. But we will defer this matter.
Okay. Duly noted. M is the First Amendment to the agreement for the sale and redevelopment of land to 512-520 South 19th Street Associates LLC to amend the scope of the project, sale price, and property addresses in the West Ward.
Any questions? Next item. Oh, Gonzalez will sponsor. I'll second that for now.
Okay. 7R2N is to execute an affordable housing agreement for home funds for the construction of 5 new 2-family homes consisting of a total of 10 3-bedroom residential rental units, of which 5 housing units shall be affordable, designated as deed restricted affordable home ownership housing units offered for sale to qualified low-income single-family households in the South Ward.
Any questions?
Chair, I'd like to move that.
All right.
Second.
Council Scott Roundtree.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yeah.
I'd like to get, through your chair and the clerk, a report from the department over the last 5 years. Like, how many projects have we designated home funds to? How many of those projects there was an actual closing? And secondly, what wards were these projects located in?
Thank you.
Duly noted.
Thank you, Councilman.
7R2O is to execute a community benefits agreement, to authorize the execution of a community benefits agreement for the construction of a new 5-story building consisting of 69 units, of which 68 are affordable, age-restricted rental units, of which 13% shall be restricted to 30% area medium income, 37% will be restricted to 50% AMI, 50% will be restricted to 60% AMI, and a public hearing will be held at tomorrow night's council meeting.
Any questions? Seeing none?
7R2P is waiving the 20-day period for an ordinance to take effect regarding the police precinct substation with Fidelco.
Any questions? Seeing none?
7R3A is a professional service contract, the change order for the renovation of the Ironbound Little League turf field.
Any questions?
I'd like to sponsor that.
Sponsored by Councilman Silva, second.
I'll second.
Second by Gonzalez, Councilman Gonzalez. Next item.
7R6A and B are settlement of civil litigation discussed in executive session. 7R6C is a professional, 7R6C and D are both professional services contracts for litigation defense matters.
Any questions? Seeing none?
7R7A is an EUS contract, a resolution to authorize the city to enter into an agreement, the mayor to execute all necessary documents with the Newark Housing Authority to provide up to 200 home units to qualified unhoused families in transitional homes throughout the city of Newark's Emergency Assistance Program.
Any questions? I think, yeah, okay.
Are we renting the units or are we buying the units?
Can someone come up and give us an explanation? I don't see the. Oh, it just walked in the door. Perfect timing. No, don't sit down. Don't sit down. Corporation Counsel.
Before Lewis comes up, I know Deputy Mayor Allison Ladd also has an update on some of the information that you guys have made a request for.
Thank you, Corporation Counsel Stewart. Council President Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I just wanted to note for the council members that there were 3 representatives for 3 different RDAs present in the council chambers. That was a request and a motion by council. And so each of the 3 items were deferred. I just wanted you to know that they were present, and if you had any questions, that they were available here in chambers. Bear with me one second. The first is on page 23, 7R2G. The gentleman is present, Mr. Fanesca. The second is on page 24, 7R2H. The holding company is present. And then the third was also on page 26, 7R2J. They are present. And then, I'm sorry, there was actually a couple more. And then on page 27, 7R2K, they are present. And also page 28, 7R2L, they are present. So I just wanted to share that with you, Council President, because I know that was a motion that was made in case there were any specific questions that council members may want to ask those that are present in chambers.
Council members, is there any questions specifically you want to ask at this point? And seeing none.
The projects are in the wards, in the different wards, and the ward council person has decided to defer it. I asked, say that the persons be present because we wanted to see who is buying the properties in the city of Newark. I would like to continue doing that. Unfortunately, they may have to come back because they say the item have been deferred.
Yes, Council President, it was just wanted to ensure that you knew that we were following the direction that was given, which was to have the representatives present. So they are in chambers, and they're happy to come as needed.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thanks.
Director Valero.
Good morning, Council President, council members, Louis Solario, Director, Office of Homeless Services. Just to speak on the agenda item that's before you. So the Path Home program, actually named after the mayor's strategic plan that was released 2 years ago, is a new initiative, partnership with the Housing Authority. It is going to designate 200 public housing units for some of the most vulnerable residents in our community. By definition, they will be chronically homeless. So these are our seniors, people with disabilities. They have been homeless for far too long. So the idea behind this initiative is to designate these units as transitional housing. So we will identify 200 of our most vulnerable residents across our shelters. We're gonna move them into these units. They're gonna be fully furnished. We're gonna provide supportive services, and the goal with making sure that they move on to something more permanent in the community. There's no time limit to how long they're gonna be there. It's really following the same model of the mayor's signature program, Hope Village 1 and 2, providing them their own space for them to have peace and a chance to open up their bandwidth and think about what is the next step in their lives. We're really proud of this initiative. And just to talk a little bit about the investment, as we know, historically, public housing authorities have been receiving less capital money from HUD as HUD shifts to other housing models like Section 8. So in our community, we have too many units that are offline. The mayor saw that, identified that as an opportunity, and moved forward with a partnership to activate 200 units that are not being used right now to serve some of our most vulnerable in our community, something that we are really proud of, super innovative, and it's in line with the mayor's vision to ending chronic homelessness in our city.
My question was whether we were buying the units or renting the units. I suppose we're renting the units or neither.
No, so they're going to be designated for a long period of time for this purpose. But no, we're not renting them. All we're doing is giving them funding to renovate the units, right? Once they become online, it is the housing authority's responsibility to manage it and to provide the property management support.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President.
Councilman Ramos.
So Louis, I would imagine that you know, it's an interesting idea. I applaud your division for it. But once that individual becomes this temporary resident of this unit that's managed by the housing authority, they could in fact become part of their subsidized housing program, and that's how the housing authority would be drawing down rent for this individual, correct?
Yeah, so the moment they move in, they will have a monthly amount that they're going to contribute, right? But it's going to be based on their income. The majority of the folks that are going to be moving into these units have very limited income. So they may not be paying anything or a small amount that they're going to be paying towards the rent.
Who does the wraparound? Is it your division, or you guys are going to contract that out to a nonprofit?
Yeah, it's going to be both. We're actually looking to leverage the Medicaid dollars. They are now able to be used for housing supports. That's going to be a little later on next year. But right now we're working with private partners to provide upstart money for the supportive services so we can start now rather than waiting for later. And as we know, these residents do need the support.
Are the residents being shifted from our existing shelter pool? Was that the primary focus?
That's
initially?
correct. Yeah, we have far too many seniors and people with disabilities in our shelters right now. So they're going to be the first that we're going to focus on. I was actually at one of our shelters just 2 nights ago, meeting with some of the residents, and they're really excited about this opportunity. One thing that the mayor really wanted us to do is also not to concentrate the units in one area, in one building. We're actually going to make sure that they are spread out through our community. So they're integrated into the community themselves and not isolated from everything else. So that's one of the really, yeah. And then, so what we're also going to do is we're at the building themselves, we are also going to have supported services that are going to provide support to those residents.
Thank you, Louis. And make sure Quinara doesn't sneak up
Yeah.
on you.
Well, he helped me put this together. So.
Mr. Chair.
Question. Go ahead. Oh, okay. No, Councilman.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on Councilman Ramos because I also had the opportunity to speak to Louis about this, the importance of, you know, programming and resources. And so, you know, the idea fundamentally in itself is an awesome idea. But, you know, we continue to struggle around programmatic opportunities for residents, you know, not just in this kind of situation, but, you know, where we are now dealing with some of the shelters that we have. And, you know, fundamentally, in order to really create this kind of universal support that we're going to have to do for everyone, this is a trigger that becomes vital, right? In terms of resources, opportunities, you know, counseling services, things that will continue to help and encourage, you know, individuals to push forward, because sometimes we get a sense of complacency where we get into a place and feel like we don't have to try to strive or achieve to work to get better, or fundamentally, you know, try to move to another area so that we can continue to, you know, move and transition other people into these areas. So it's critical that we understand and know who is going to be, you know, hands-on in these day-to-day operations of providing programmatic services.
I agree with that, Councilman Council. And I think what we're shifting to this transitional housing model. And we're looking at emergency housing as a rapid rehousing model where people are going to move in and out really quickly. That's why we're identifying the most vulnerable for the transitional housing model, because we know they're going to need more time. They're going to need a lot more time than someone that, you know, may just be underemployed. And maybe with the right supports, they can become employed and find their way into an apartment really quickly. So,
Another quick question, and I don't, if you said this, I apologize if I missed it. Are any families included in this?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we did identify. So it's 200 units in total. As of right now, we identified 30 units. They are going to be for families. those families also are going to meet the definition of chronically homeless. So the head of household will be disabled, or the children, again, very vulnerable families that, are going to need a little bit more support. So yes, there will be 30 families that will benefit from this, possibly more, depending on where we see the demand from our shelters.
All right, thank you. Any other
I
questions?
do have a question.
Councilman.
Director, good morning. I just have a quick question. These are Newark families and Newark homeless, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so there
Yes.
are Newark residents, because you
Yes, sir.
know better than I do
Yep.
that a lot of the towns and municipalities around this state take advantage of the standards that the high standards that we have for our homeless, and they send them here. So I just want to make sure that these 200 are Newark residents that we are taking care of.
Yes, absolutely. We actually are also interviewing them, sitting down with them to speak to them more about, their background and where their supports are right now. We did identify some folks that, may not be eligible because they've only been here in Newark for a short amount of time. So we're working with those individuals to, redirect them back to those municipalities that can provide that support. So we are asking those questions. I mean, they're hard questions to ask because we know they need the help. But again, we're trying to prioritize our Newark residents in this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Seeing none, thank you, Director.
All right, thank you.
7R8A is a professional service contract to provide the 2025 statutory auditor services.
Any questions? Seeing none.
B is a hold harmless indemnification agreement for the holiday toy giveaway sponsored by Councilman Kelly. Can I have a second? Second. Scott Roundtree, second. Okay. Thank you. C is recognizing and commending resolutions, and D is expressing profound sorrow and regret. Public safety resolutions, 7R9A and B are application acceptance of grant funds. A is funding to enforce motor vehicle violations that lead to hit and run fatalities, and B is for the purchase of 2 or more fire trucks to augment the City of Newark's fleet and to respond to calls throughout the city.
Questions? Next item.
7R12A through U are all professional services contracts for engineering services on an as-needed basis.
Any questions? I do have one thing I'd like to ask for, a request from the Director. If we can get from January 1st through December 31st, 2024, a list of all the professional services contracts for engineering and what amount was expended. That's it. All right.
Okay. That takes us to, my apologies. We are now on page 49 of the agenda. 7R12V and W are both bid contracts. V is to provide emergency repair for sewers, and W is to provide miscellaneous emergency repair of water mains and services leaks.
Any questions? Next item.
We dealt with 8A, B, and C, so we are on item 8D, an ordinance amending and supplementing convenience stores, registration of all new and pre-existing convenience stores to create a subsection to prohibit distance from existing convenience stores and to further include the increasing of fines and penalties set forth in the violation and penalty, sponsored by Councilman Council.
Councilman Council.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this ordinance in effect would put in place where convenience stores would have to be 500 feet apart as the data represented itself that was presented by the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery about most crimes, violent crimes happening in front of convenience stores, and coupled with that, the amount of stores that are now popping up simultaneously in saturating areas where along one strip you would be able to see a vast amount of bodegas, convenience store, chicken store, liquor store, convenience store, and in order to spur, economic growth, development, and to create, you know, differentiality in terms of, services into our city. I think it is vital and important that we create a different template and begin to ensure that if individuals want to, come and do business in the city, that they understand the difference of variety and also making sure that we put in place some variances where we're not just beholden to having these kind of locations on top of each other. And so I'm looking for, our council colleagues to support this effort and move this forward and hope we can advance and adopt on first.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Ramos.
I just want to say that I do like the idea. We definitely want to promote, diversity when it comes to the kinds of establishments that we have along our commercial corridors. What would help me is if we can get a list from the Office of Licensing of what businesses does it apply to? Is it mini supermarkets, bodegas, dollar stores? Are we addressing what seems to be the proliferation of smoke shops? If you do see any kind of establishment popping up along our commercial corridors, are smoke shops. They seem to be in large quantities popping up in our commercial corridors. Is that going to be addressed through this ordinance? And if not, if there's a way to incorporate those establishments as well. So, I do applaud my colleague for his efforts. I just need to better understand who does this apply to. And I would imagine that this is any prospective business. If you do have an existing convenience store or whatever you want to classify them, this ordinance would not necessarily apply.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk.
10A is acceptance of the raffle license.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Council President, council members, we have a couple added starters that the Corporation Council is going to explain.
Good morning, Kenyatta Stewart, City of Newark Corporation Council. So essentially, we have 7 added starters. I'll list them out. I know we have a number of people here who are here to be able to discuss them in detail. First, we have one from EHD. The item number is 241710. It's a reference to the pedestrian bridge. We have another item. I don't know the exact number.
Let's go through each one.
Sure. I'll go through.
Okay.
I'll go through the list first. You want me to, or you want to call them over first?
The first one is regarding the bridge, you said. So I got to be honest, I'm having trouble hearing too for some reason.
Don't worry about it.
Is it just me
I'll
or
add
everybody?
some heavy level to it.
Okay.
So the first one has to do with the pedestrian bridge. The number is 241710. The second item is 2 cannabis.
So let's go to that first item. Are there any questions on that item? Or someone here to explain that item? Let's say it first. And also the urgency or the reason it needs to be an added starter.
Yes, Council President Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. So the item before you is a contract amendment. The reason for the contract amendment is that over the last year, we've been working with Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, and PATH to review the design for the pedestrian bridge. A few weeks ago, actually, we were able to talk with those 3 rail agencies and get them to agree to have us look at the use of the current bridge. So the reason for the request as an added starter is we'd like to continue this project. And in an effort to do so, we do need an amendment so that we can review the ability to use the existing bridge. As you may recall, the original design was for us to remove and demolish the existing bridge and build a new one. Again, though, over the last year, through conversations with Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, and PATH, they have expressed significant concerns around the outage schedule, that it would have to be take place in order for us to do construction over those tracks. And so we are now looking at a possibility of a new design using the existing bridge.
All
But
right.
no decision has been made about the design. We're just evaluating it.
All right, thank you. Any questions on this one? Councilman Gonzalez.
Are we considering doing any work between now and January 8th of the next meeting?
Yes. So sorry, Council President, to the question raised by Councilmember Gonzalez. We are trying to get this evaluation and redesign within the next 6 months. The first thing that needs to be done is decking over the bridge to make sure the space is safe and for any evaluation. The second part is we are working on having the testing for environmental testing occur. And the third is looking at the structural ability for us to use that bridge should we need to go in an alternate method.
And that would happen between today, the 17th, and January 8th of next year.
Yes, sir. And so I apologize. The reason for it is that we have got to secure the contractor so that they can order the materials. If we do not secure the contractor and we cannot order the materials, it just continues to delay the project. And as you know, this council and our mayor, we have already issued the debt over 1.5 years ago. And so we would like to actually start construction.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next item.
Thank you.
I'll have Jocelyn come up to talk about the two cannabis items. The numbers are 241696, which is a micro business with Cannabis Club. And the second one is 241600, which is a retail business with a company called Lilac.
You said 1600, the last one?
Yes, 241600.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Jocelyn
morning.
Wingfield, Cannabis Newark. So this matter is urgent because the individuals who are seeking to obtain a cannabis license from the CRC, they're given a strict timeline of about 120 days to obtain all the necessary resolutions from the municipal authority. If we don't move on it now, they won't be granted any more extensions. This was put in ahead of time, however, mishaps happen. So I'm asking that you move these items forward so they could turn in the necessary documents to the CRC so that they can obtain a license and begin operation here in the city.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to attend the meeting this morning, but is this the, I mean, we can never say the addresses for some reason on the record.
No,
I'm not
these
sure
are-
what the secret is, but is this the Bloomfield Avenue? It's one of,
Yes, one
because
of
there were a
them.
number of things that I had requested from that meeting that I never got follow-up on. You know, one was, yeah.
I'm sorry. So the entity has met with Ms. Bernardo of the district. And I'm working with engineering to provide you with an answer of whether or not the bus stop could be moved just a few feet up so that it's not obstructing the entryway to the business front door.
That shouldn't take that long. I mean, this meeting was probably 2 months ago, so I think engineering should have been able to go out and do an assessment and at least send correspondence to transit recommending that the bus stop be moved, which
So
I
they're
think is
following-
going, yeah,
they're
it should be
following the-
important for this business.
And so it's going to be a little bit more extensive than what we anticipated. So I'll consult with engineering and then I'll follow up with you hopefully before the close of business week.
And the other thing I had requested was certification regarding the proximity to the school that's in that area. And I never got that either, so.
I could have that to you before the close
Okay,
of the business day.
Thank you.
Council, did you have something?
No, I'm fine. I knew that those were the questions that I
Okay.
was gonna ask if that information was ever followed up on, so.
All right, so obviously it's important we get that information as soon as possible, particularly for the council members.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, as you come up, Corp Counsel, if we can get email to all of us a list of all of these so that we have them and can look them up.
Okay. The next one is, the number is 241566. It's in reference to DPW needing some 4x4 trucks.
Good morning, Council President, council members. This was a bid item that went out in November for bid. This is for our supervisors in DPW, so they could be able to follow the garbage trucks and the snow trucks for their vehicles. This is probably going to take about another 30 days to execute the contract, which will probably put us in February if we don't get this approved immediately, like tomorrow. A part of this is just making sure our supervisors, we got 2 supervisors riding in the same truck. It don't work for us. We can't, cover the whole city. So unfortunately, it's had to be an added starter, but it shouldn't be. But we do need those vehicles for them to adequately do their job and supervise the crews that's out in the field.
So help
And with
me,
the
'cause
upcoming snow.
I don't know what it is today. I don't know if we can turn the mics up a little, but I'm struggling to hear today.
So I'll repeat, Council President, this is a bid that went out last month. Bid came back, it was awarded. These are for 4x4 vehicles for our supervisors in DPW. Right now, we have 2 or 3 supervisors riding in the same truck. We can't adequately supervise all the routes with them sharing a truck. We want them to have their separate vehicles so it can be more efficient and effective.
How many vehicles is it?
It's about 7. It's about 7.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Continue, please.
If we push it to January, I think it's probably another 30 days. Once the contract gets executed, we'll be into February. Hopefully we have snow. We won't have enough supervisors to operate a separate vehicle when we cover in the areas. Or just want to make sure we're more efficient in making sure that we're coming into the new year with our supervision actually doing what they need to do and following up on the routes of these garbage trucks and recycling trucks.
Thank you. Any questions?
You said that we were buying 7 vehicles?
I think it's 7 for DPW and there may be 2 others for like one of our sanitation or code inspectors that come in.
All right, thank you. Next item.
The next item is a water and sewer item, is 241613. It's professional services for Pequannock Water Treatment Plant, engineering services, licensed operator. This is a part of our, as you know, I was here last year, we have currently 4 young engineers that we hired in 2019 that are one step away. This December, they'll be eligible to get their top grade of license. We were here last year. This is the engineering firm and license operator support to continue grooming and mentoring our workforce up at the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant, and also make sure that we're staying in compliance. We need a licensed operator.
Any questions? All right, seeing none. Next item.
That's very good that we do
Thank you.
that.
Finally, we have a item 241606. It is a contract with Rutgers in reference to assisting our homeless czar with substance abuse issues out in the community.
Any questions on that? Oh, well, come on up.
Council President, council members, just some background on that item. It is a new initiative that we started actually earlier this year. It's a medical unit that provides services to the unsheltered population in our city. It's led by a psychiatric nurse practitioner, a social worker, a licensed substance abuse counselor under the supervision of a medical director. So this team goes out to different areas that are experiencing high overdoses rates. We're using data that's provided by University Hospital, and they provide medical treatment, wound care, behavioral health services, psychiatric evaluations, and also offer prescriptions on the spot. So it's something that we have seen that has made really an incredible impact. Right now, they're based at Metro, which is the downtown area, and has literally seen hundreds of residents there in that area. With this extension, we're going to be able to continue these services into the new year and expand it by adding an additional team that we hope is going to go into the communities as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Gonzalez.
Yeah, how much money is that costing us?
The total contract is 535,000. And it'll pay
For a year?
Yes. And that money, actually, it's not city funds. We're using opioid settlement dollars to provide support to those teams.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I only counted 6.
I'm gonna tell you that.
No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even say anything.
I'm gonna tell you that I had 7. I don't know where the 7th one is. So because no one is jumping up, I'm assuming it's almost 6.
Okay, so I will say this. You know that we don't normally go past 5,
I'm clear. I appreciate it.
but it's the holiday season. And I think that as the council is giving a holiday gift to the administration for this. And we'll move 6 forward on this one. It's not going to be a regular occurrence. But today, for tomorrow, we'll do 6.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Public comment?
Yes.
All right. We are in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting where each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name for the record. Is there anyone wishing to address the council?
Good morning, George Tillman Jr.
Good morning.
I'm just going to respond to Corporation Counsel when he came up to discuss the meeting that we sat down and discussed. One, I don't have a problem with sitting down with Ms. Gaylord and Newark Works, as I said to the administration prior to this meeting. The problem is that the administration or Newark Works and the deputy mayor of workforce development have to come up and present a strategy as to how they're going to get Newark residents to work, knowing that the deputy mayor came up here and said that it's going to take them decades or it's impossible to build this workforce. I think it's important that this department come up and give a plan of action. I presented to them a corrective action plan that would take place over the course of 24 to 36 months, that would increase the workforce to approximately 10,000 and going into each ward and targeting at least 2,000 individuals per ward over the course of 36 months. A strategic plan that will address the trades, service, and the trade jobs. And there's also another area that was targeted, which was college-bound students and current students and graduating students. That workforce base. There's a whole strategic plan over the next 36 months that can address this workforce. I'm not going to go sit down there and give them my 36-month plan to address this, to correct this dilemma and crisis that we're in. And we're continuing to give out these tax abatements, knowing that Newark Works is incapable at this time, as the deputy mayor said, of supplying that workforce. So there has to be some sort of plan that comes before this council to address what the deputy mayor said that they cannot do. So what are they going to do over the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months to address that? If there's no plan to address that immediately, then there's no need to give out these tax abatements immediately, because Newark residents are not working. We know that. We've discussed that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good morning, council members, council president. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
My deepest condolences. Good morning, council members. My name is Fakira Bradley. I'm a high-risk interventionist for the city of Newark, New Jersey. I want to keep my address off the record. Thank you. I'm coming to the city council today to ask, can you help me to retrieve my security deposit from Element CNC Management? I have not received. I forwarded my address to Tierra Thomas at 20 Littleton, Newark, New Jersey, regarding my security deposit of $1,250 that I need. To no avail, no response. I still have all 3 keys I'm willing to return. I am entitled to my security deposit, and the condition of the unit was left in the same condition I moved in, except I couldn't move the furniture. I left it. I left everything. I have every rent receipt and every fraudulent lease who was given to me by Daisy Bermudez at 250 Georgia King Village. I am on hard times. I pay real bills now, like light bill, PSNG, and plus my everyday needs. Please rectify this problem, being as though I am the bigger person. And know that the files was deleted out the computer. I got all my paperwork. And another thing, if I show up to any event in the city of Newark, New Jersey, and I see any conflict, I will resolve the issue and run it properly. I am a high-risk interventionist who is a productive member of society and also licensed to operate at anywhere I go. I will deliver at all times. I am always around to assist, and I do not get paid for it. And I do not like being harassed by Newark police because they can't control the masses. With all due respect, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Deborah Salter, City of Newark. Wow, so much. So one of the projects that are on here that are looking for tax abatement, there was a brother Rashan that came to one of the last meetings about the 440 project. And I hope that you all investigated what was going on with that project. He told you all that they are not getting paid for their overtime. He was let go because he requested his overtime that he worked. And you all need to be aware of that. I don't know if you've done anything about it, but since it's on the agenda for this tax abatement, that's what he came down here for. Okay, so in alignment with my brother Tillman here about the workforce. And let me say this about Ms. Gaylord. I've been dealing with her for several years, and she's the same one that raised that grant for 1.5 million that got our kids working during the summertime. So she is doing what she is supposed to be doing. It's the one over her that is not making sure that our jobs and things are taken care of. You've been given the information. You've sat in the meetings, same meetings I sat in. And I know personally, when it comes to working in the city, what is not being done for Newark residents. Stood here, our men are asking for jobs, and it's beyond construction. It doesn't just say construction. It's a whole plethora of jobs that we need in this city, many of which you all have been holding hostage. For years, vacancies, for years. But yet our people can't work. And they're looked at as, oh, and hearing it said, oh, well, nobody in Newark is qualified. Says who? I had to give my credentials in that meeting that you all don't know I have, that I had to get from another city because my own city wouldn't help me get it. So what are you doing? Again, you all live well. This is not even what I wanted to talk about. But it is just so much, and our people are suffering. Like I said, I'm gonna talk about this AMI business that you all are throwing out here, like, oh yeah, 60% AMI, 40% AMI. And with this new Gomes home project that they just built, the same ones that you all gave the corner of the lot to and wanna sell the land for Hope Village to, for what was it, 4 million, 6 million? And where are we gonna put them? The whole transitional thing that was already supposed to be in effect when you went and got Sakina. I laid the plan out. She came and stole it and gave it to you as a PowerPoint that I have not been paid for yet. So this is not something new. that Lewis is standing up and talking about, oh, it's innovative. No, it's what I said years ago when we paid 12.9 to a hotel for 300 homeless.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Coming up, I know you're gonna wait for me, right? Gaslight. Like the lying lawyer up there that comes behind us. Anyway, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever among you sees an evil action, then let him change it with his hands by taking action. If he cannot, then with his tongue by speaking out. And if he cannot, then with his heart, and that is the weakest of the faith. Good day, criminal enterprise who is running our government. Good riddance to you. I just want to say that there's a penalty, and I know the lying lawyer who comes up behind us, he knows this penalty for violating your oath of office in the Constitution. And he does know, if he know, the lying lawyer knows that it's a federal offense when you do that, right? Lying lawyer. Now, do you all remember when corruption took place under the Sharp James administration? You have the Baraka and the Near Force protesting, calling on resignations on those who have been indicted and found guilty of corruption. Let me tell you, all a political scam. Just like Hire Newark and Newark build Newark, another political scam to brainwash the people that he's doing something. Just like the housing thing. Now we got over $1 billion that was allocated to address housing and homeless crisis in this city. Make this shit make sense.
What's your language?
Make it make sense. How can you use a city-owned property, which the first containers were on? You could have used that to build low-income housing for Newarkers and the unhoused. But instead, you sold it to your political campaign donors. That's what you did. And then the school board, $100 million. $100 million of our taxpayer dollars for lying lawyers. Unacceptable, Newarkers. Unacceptable. But guess what, Newarkers? All the protesting the lying black Near Force did, when corruption and indictments and all the stuff that's going on, you need to rise up, Newarkers, and just wake up out of your stupor. You are being brainwashed, led astray.
Thank you for your
and
comments.
led amok by these fell leaders.
Next speaker.
Good morning, Council President and council members.
Good morning.
Before I go into what it's a flyer that you all have, but before I get into that, I want to read this again. And I don't know everything about politics, but what I do know, if we don't properly communicate with each other, that we're not going to get nothing done. So I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in my community. It is my personal approach that creates the culture. As a part of the village, I possess tremendous power to make my community life miserable or joyful. I can be a tool of torture or instrument of inspiration. I can embarrass or empower, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, my community be humanized or dehumanized. I want to first give you my condolences, and I want everybody to understand, although we have jobs to do, he just lost his mother. Point blank, period. We need more agendas out there. I wasn't able to get one. I had to share one with the developer. And Northern State, I need to know, is it in the east or the south? Because of zoning issues, I'm not sure. Whenever I ask the question, I'm not sure. And I do work and advocation for incarcerated people. The other thing is the board meetings and the council meeting. The last time I came to a council meeting, I was supposed to speak at a board meeting, but it was very important that I come here and support the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery, because at the end of the day, if we have issues with anything, I know that we do need that. The other thing is the flyer. That's the last thing. I am a mother of a drill rapper, and it is very important to me that it's no longer an elephant in the room, because although crime is down, we are still losing our children. They are battle rapping. They on videos. My son is one of them. He's still alive, and I thank God for him every day. But it's very important to me because I have seen a lot of mothers lose their children, and I don't want to lose mine. So if I have given this flyer to various people, the mayor, Mitty Baraka, y'all all have it, the police have it, the school board has it, everyone knows the issue. So I definitely do want y'all to give some dollars to the Office of Violence Prevention so they can make this a priority, because although crime is down, our kids are still doing things that is very detrimental to their life. And please have a happy holiday, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Walter Jacobs, president of Court Towers Senior Building in Newark.
Good morning.
I'm here today to say we give our heartfelt sorrow for your loss, Larry.
Thank you.
Because your mother did a whole lot in our building. She used to even have food there. So we missed her. We're going to miss her. And we just want to let you know that we miss her, and we are helping you go on with the work that she was doing with the seniors. And there's another thing going on with the seniors in Newark. They're being put out of their houses because of hoarding.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jacobs. If you
I
could
didn't know
speak up,
hoarding.
I couldn't hear you.
Hoarding, you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay. Hoarding, they're being put out for hoarding. And only reason they will have a lot of things in their house, some things they can let go, but some things are so personal, like their family, something like that. But the idea of just laying them out in the street, that's so bad. They should have a chance to put that together and have somebody work with them, more than likely. Because where could a senior 75-year-old get friends to help them? They're 75. They can't move around like somebody 30 or 40. So I think that the way they do it now in some apartment buildings, I think it's outrageous. These are Newark people who put you in office, put your family, put everybody in office. And now you just say, look, your house is cluttered, not dirty, just that you maybe have a lot of things out of order. I think this should be something where someone want to put somebody out, they come to the council so the council can make sure someone goes over and make sure that seniors getting all the help they can get. But right now, and it's winter time, where do a senior go if they're supposed to be put out in the street? It's cold. They don't have a friend. They don't want to go to a friend's house. They're independent. They want to stay independent. Thank you. Happy holiday.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. I think we have one coming up, yeah. I think that's Mr. Coulter. I can't see under the hat. It is.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Condolences from the parents of Newark, the parents of Safe Passage.
Thank you.
And I'm going to surrender 10 seconds of my time to your mother's great grace. Mr. President, Council, Mayor, and Administration, and the honorable 350,000 residents of the city of Newark. When I first came back to the city of Newark, I attended a city council hearing here, and they were doing the Civilian Complaint Review Board ordinance. And Mr. President, your mother was the president in that quorum. I remember her and Gail Cheneyfield telling the council that eventually there was going to be more work that would be needed with the Civilian Complaint Review Board because the police are a institution, a local institution and an international institution. And that conversation and civic work was not going to be merely a destination, but more of a journey. I won't go into more of that. Labor 2025, 10 years ago, I saw City of Newark, I think it was under Booker or our sitting mayor, that by 2025, we were going to create 5,000 new jobs. And I'm curious to see how we are in our evaluation of that. The Newark Board of Education and the New Jersey Business and Industry Association must begin to have partnership, Mr. President, on vocational training, not just in construction, but also in other soft skill areas, because that industry is not only a lobbyist organization at the presidential level, but also in the state capitol level. So as the country is changing presidents, we don't want Newark to get shortchanged, and we don't need no jive turkeys that's afraid to go meet with Trump. If they have money on the table that's going to fund programs we need to be able to at least get meetings with those people and have some sort of communication in DC. Newark Housing Authority is a multi-billion-dollar organization, and we see the current shortage of 30,000 homeless beds. Although we support the work that Mr. Olerio is doing and his charge been given by the mayor, Mr. President, you're going to have to push the Housing Authority to redevelop some of their existing buildings that are to the left of the extra supermarket up on Irvin Turner, so we can bring some of those old units online the way New York has to some of their public housing buildings, where we don't lose the unit count on the fraction side, but we're maintaining the bottom part of the fraction and improving to bring units back online that are, I don't want to call them low income units. We don't want Newark to be low income, but we want affordable houses that are already in our landscape grid. In closing, I would say the bids and SIDs have to be included in that ordinance that Mr. Council spoke of, because it's completely unconstitutional and it's a violation of the federal 10th Amendment.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. Seeing none, any comments, questions from the council? Anything from the administration? Mr. B.A. Excuse me.
Hi, good morning, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. Just briefly, the
Morning.
comments from the public didn't really raise many issues for the administration, but I wanted to respond essentially to Councilman Gonzalez's concerns about the assessed value of properties versus the sale price of the properties. And I'm sure he's aware of this, but I want to, just for the edification of anybody who may not know, we haven't had a revaluation of the properties in over 10 years. And so the assessed value is based on the assessed values that were done several years ago. And so they don't reflect the true value of the properties now in many cases. To Councilman Gonzalez's point, we need to make sure that the correct assessed value is shown on the tax records, and so the residents don't get the misimpression that properties are being sold at a value much less than what the value really should be. That's part of what the revaluation process will do. That will be concluded in 2027. To the extent that there is information available when we're selling city-owned properties, Deputy Mayor Ladd will continue to provide the council with information regarding why the value may be significantly lower than what the assessed value is. That will include pictures and descriptions of properties that have been burned out, torn down, are now vacant lots, and the like. So that is, again, so that the public, the residents, the people who listen to what go on here have some sense of what the assessed value is. And again, I am positive that Councilman Gonzalez knows that, but to his point, he should challenge those things, and we should give him and the rest of you and the residents that information, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you, Councilman Gonzalez.
Yes, we have a current situation in New Jersey and around, let's say, the East Coast with the drones. Let's say every time that I meet a constituent, they asked me, Councilman, what do you know about the drones? I understand that there was a meeting about, let's say, with the mayors of the area, and I would like the mayor or someone in the administration to come up with, let's say, a statement indicating what we know about, let's say, the drones, because there's a lot of uncertainty out there as to the origin of these vehicles.
Sure, Councilman Gonzalez through Council President. We will work on putting something together as soon as we have more information. We don't have sufficient information to dispel any rumors or to clarify what the circumstances are. We're being told that there's no national threat. And as soon as we get additional information, we'll bring it to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything from? I think that's it. Corporate Counsel, thank you, Mr. Big. Corporate, do we need to go into executive session? Okay. We got a motion for executive session?
We're deferring them.
Which one?